plays. The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
That he should die is worthy policy, but yet we want a color for his death. 'Tis meet he be condemned by the course of law.
Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law to my will.
Your dishonor mangles true judgment and bereaves the state of that integrity which should become it.
The truth appears so naked on my side that any purblind eye may find it out.
And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident that it will glimmer through a blind man's eye.
I cannot blame them all. What is't to them? 'Tis thine they give away, and not their
A
own.
day will come when York shall claim his own, and therefore I will take the Nevilles' parts and make a show of love to proud Duke Humphrey. And when I spy advantage, claim the crown, for that's the golden mark I seek to hit.
My brain, more busy than the laboring spider, weaves tedious snares to trap mine enemies.
Welcome, and thanks for coming. Shakespeare's plays are packed with politics, and he makes it personal. By which I mean his focus is on how individual human beings behave with and around power. And because people don't really change very much, his plays remain relevant despite the differences between today's governing structures and the ones he knew. For instance, leaders today, like Shakespeare's, are always surrounded by a royal court. Though now those courts go by different names, like a president's cabinet, a business's board of directors, upper management, etc., etc. And just as in his plays, those courts are full of loyalists, detractors, and climbers with their own ambitions and agendas. Internal tensions can bust out into the open and shake things up. It is also still the case that leaders rise and leaders fall. In Shakespeare's worlds, a fall from power was almost always fatal. Today is less bloody, but modern leaders can be undermined, disempowered, outright fired. They can lose election status, funding. They can fall victim to a hostile takeover, and so on. The upshot is, the same underlying dynamics apply now as applied then, despite the plays being peopled by characters whose power mostly derives either from bloodline-based succession or some form of violent coup. Not that those roots to power no longer apply, because they can. We start with King Henry VI, whose weakness and incompetence directly resulted in the famous Wars of the Roses, which, fun fact, inspired Game of Thrones. So, Henry VI is a king via inheritance, but the problem of a bad fit in a leadership role can happen regardless of how someone gets there. It's always a roll of the dice, and when that person just can't handle the job, others will fight for control of the kingdom.
Father, you cannot disinherit me. If you be king, why should not I succeed?
Pardon me, Margaret. Pardon me, sweet son. The Earl of Warwick and the Duke enforced me.
Enforced thee? Art thou king, and wilt be forced? I shame to hear thee speak, O timorous wretch! Thou hast undone thyself, thy son, and me, and given unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign but by their sufferance, to tell him and his heirs unto the crown. What is it but to make thy sepulchre and creep into it far before thy time? Warwick is chancellor, and the Lord of Calais, stern Falconbridge, commands the narrow seas. The Duke is made protector of the realm, and yet shalt thou be safe? Such safety finds the trembling lamb environed with wolves. Had I been there, which am a silly woman, the soldiers should have tossed me on their pikes before I would have granted to that act. But thou preferst thy life before thine honor. And seeing thou dost, I here divorce myself, both from thy table, Henry, and thy bed, until that act of Parliament be repealed, whereby my son is disinherited. northern lords. That have forsworn thy colors will follow mine. And if once they see them spread, and spread they shall be, to thy foul disgrace and utter ruin of the house of York. Thus I do leave thee. Come, son, let's away. Our army is ready. Come, we'll after them.
Stay gentle, Margaret, and hear me speak.
Thou hast spoke too much already. Get thee gone.
Gentle son Edward, thou wilt stay with me?
Aye, to be murdered by his enemies.
When I return with victory to the field, I'll see your grace. Till then, I'll follow her.
Struggles over who should by rights be in charge can lead to as much instability, self-dealing, and outright destructiveness as the haplessness of a weak ruler. And those down the food chain can't help but be affected. In King John, the youngest son of the prior king has seized the English throne in defiance of an order of succession that arguably makes his young nephew Arthur the king. Arthur's cause is led by Arthur's mother, Lady Constance. Arthur's claim is supported by France. War is about to start on Arthur's behalf, and then the King of France changes his mind and cuts a sweetheart deal with King John. A knight in King John's entourage sees it all.
Mad world! Mad kings! Mad composition! John, to stop Arthur's title in the whole, hath willingly departed with a part. And France, whose armor conscience buckled on, whom zeal and charity brought to the field as God's own soldier, rounded in the ear with that same purpose changer, that sly devil, that broker that still breaks the pate of fate, that daily break vow, he that wins of all, of kings, beggars, of old men, young men, maids, that smooth-faced gentleman, tickling commodity. Commodity, the bias of the world which of itself is balanced well, made to run even upon even ground, till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, this sway of motion, this commodity, makes it take head from all indifference, from all direction, purpose, course, intent. And this same bias, this commodity, this bawd, this broker, this all-changing word, clapped on the outward eye of fickle France, hath drawn him from his own determined aid, from a resolved and honorable war, to a most base and vile concluded peace. And why rail I on this commodity? But because he has not wooed me yet, nor that I have the power to clutch into my hand when his fair angels would salute my palms. But for my hand is unattempted yet, like a poor beggar raileth on the rich. Whiles I am a beggar, I will rail, and say there is no sin but to be rich, and being rich. My virtue then shall be to say that there is no vice but beggary, since kings break faith upon commodity. Gain be my lord, I will worship thee.
Still with King John, for centuries, marriages were used to cement alliances, sort of like feudal mergers. But as soon as Lady Blanche of England is married to Louis, Prince of France, the winds quickly change yet again, leaving Blanche torn between her new and old families. As the proverb says, when two bulls fight, the grass suffers.
Father, to arms!
Upon thy wedding day, against the blood that thou hast married, what? Shall our feast be kept with slaughtered men? Shall braying trumpets and loud churlish drums, clamors of hell, be measures to our Pope? O husband, hear me. did ne'er pronounce. Upon my knee I beg, go not to arms against mine uncle.
Oh, upon my knee, made hard with kneeling, I do pray to thee, thou virtuous Dauphin, alter not the doom forethought by heaven.
Now shall I see thy love. What motive may be stronger with thee than the name of wife?
That which upholdeth him, that thee upholds. His honor, oh, thine honor. Louis, thine honor.
I muse your majesty doth seem so cold, where such profound respects do pull you on.
England, I will fall from thee.
The sun's o'ercast with blood. Fair day adieu. Which is the side that I must go withal? I am with both. Each army hath a hand, and in their rage I having hold of both, they will asunder and dismember me. Husband, I cannot pray that thou mayst win uncle. I needs must pray that thou mayst lose grandam. May not wish thy fortune thine. Father, I will not wish thy wishes thrive. Whoever wins, on that side shall I lose. Assured loss before the match be played.
During the battle, young Arthur is separated from his mother and captured by the victorious English. It's a defeat, and to the calculating mind of a counselor who leads from behind, it's an opportunity.
Courage and comfort, all shall yet go well.
What can go well when we have run so ill? Are we not beaten? Arthur, ta'en prisoner.
Oh, now see the issue of your peace.
Patience, good lady, comfort, gentle Constance.
No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death, oh amiable, lovely death.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Thou art not wholly to belie me so. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven if I were. For then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, cardinal. For being not mad, but sensible of grief, my reasonable heart produces reason, how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity. And Father Cardinal, I have heard you say that we shall see and know our friends again in heaven. If that be true, I shall see my boy again. But now will canker sorrow eat my bud and chase the native beauty from his cheek, and he will look as hollow as a ghost. And so he'll die, and rising so again, when I shall meet him in the court of heaven, I shall not know him. Therefore never must I behold my pretty Arthur more.
You hold too heinous a respect of grief.
He talks to me that never had a son.
You are as fond of grief as of your child.
Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. Then have I reason to be fond of grief. Fare you well. Had you such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do. Oh, Lord, my boy, my Arthur, my fair son, my life, my joy, my food, my all the world, my widow comfort, and my sorrow's cure.
I fear some outrage, and I'll follow her.
There's nothing in this world can make me joy. Life is as tedious as a twice-told tale.
What have you lost by losing of this day?
all days of glory, joy, and happiness.
Your mind is as youthful as your blood. 'Tis strange to think how much King John hath lost in this which he accounts so clearly won. Now, hear me speak with a prophetic spirit. John hath seized Arthur, and it cannot be that whiles warm life plays in that infant's veins, the misplaced John should entertain an hour, 1 minute, nay, one quiet breath of rest. A scepter snatched with an unruly hand must be as boisterously maintained as gained, and he that stands upon a slippery place makes nice of no vile hold to stay him up. That John may stand, then Arthur needs must fall. So be it, for it cannot be but so.
But what shall I gain by young Arthur's fall?
You, in the right of Lady Blanche, your wife, may then make all the claim that Arthur did.
And lose it, life and all, as Arthur did.
How green you are, and fresh in this old world. John lays you plots, the times conspire with you. This act so evilly born shall cool the hearts of all his people and freeze up their zeal, that none so small advantage shall step forth to check his reign, but they will cherish it, plainly denouncing vengeance upon John.
Maybe he will not touch young Arthur's life, but hold himself safe in their imprisonment.
Oh, sir, when he shall hear of your approach, if that young Arthur be not gone already, even at that news, he dies, and then the hearts of all his people shall revolt from him. For England go, I will whet upon the king.
The American diplomat Henry Kissinger once said, "Power is the ultimate aphrodisiac." And some leaders are so hungry for power that they'll pursue it by any means necessary, worshiping power purely for its own sake, rather than as a means towards other values. Macbeth is Shakespeare's most chilling portrayal of empty ambition. A married couple joins forces to do what they know is wrong. They murder their very good king, pretend great grief, succeed at first in making false accusations, and ascend to the throne where things go from bad to worse. Shakespeare's play makes clear that there's never enough power or enough security in that power to satisfy Macbeth's appetite. His ensuing abuses as king, of course, lose the support of almost everyone, and he is violently deposed while his guilt-tortured lady takes herself out. We're now going to give you some of the beginning of the play, while they still have choices. Prompting this whole disaster are witches, though all they can actually do is tempt. Whether or not to fall to that temptation is up to Lord and Lady Macbeth. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter.
I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learnt by the perfect report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burnt in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming on of time with Hail King that shalt be. This I have thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightest not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and it shall to be what thou art promised. Yet I do fear thy nature, it is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily. Wouldst not play false, yet would wrongly win. Thou'dst have, great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do, than wishest should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round.
The king,
What is your tidings?
the king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it.
So please you, it is true.
The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Great Glamis, worthy Cador, greater than both by the all hail thereafter, thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall son that morrow see. Your face, my vein, is as a book where men may read strange matters to beguile the time. Look like the time bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
See, our honored hostess.
All our service in every point, twice done and then done double. We're poor and single business to contend against these honors deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house.
We are your guests tonight.
Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in compt, still to return your own.
Give me your hand, conduct me to mine host.
In Julius Caesar, the late-stage Roman Republic is on the verge of collapsing into a monarchy, but not everyone is willing to let that happen, including people very close to Caesar. Caesar!
Caesar! Caesar! Caesar!
What need
Caesar!
of this shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king.
Aye, do you fear it? Then must I think you would not have it so.
I would not, Cassius, and yet I love him well.
I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be as live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar, so were you.
Caesar!
Another general shout. I do believe these applauses are for some new honors that are heaped on Caesar.
Why, man? He doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Now, in the names of all the gods at once, upon what meat doth this our Caesar feed, that he is grown so great? Age, thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. When went there by an age since the great flood? But he was famed with more than with one man. When could they say, till now, that talked of Rome, that her wide walks encompassed but one man? There was a Brutus once that would have brooked the eternal devil to keep his state in Rome, as easily as a king.
What you would work me to, I have some aim, how I have thought of this and of these times, I shall recount hereafter. For this present, I would not so with love I might entreat you be any further moved. What you have said, I shall with patience hear, and find a time both meet to hear and answer such high things. Till then, my noble friend, chew upon this. Brutus had rather be a villager than to repute himself a son of Rome under these hard conditions as this time is like to lay upon us.
I am glad that my weak words have struck but thus much show of fire from Brutus.
Casca, tell us what had chanced today that Caesar looked so sad.
Why, there was a crown offered him, and being offered him, he put it by with the back of his hand thus, and the people fell a-shouting.
What was the second noise for?
Why, for that, too.
They shouted thrice. What was that cry for?
Why, for that, too.
Was the crown offered him thrice?
Aye, marry was, and he put it by thrice, every time gentler than the other, and every time mine honest neighbors shouted.
Who offered him the crown?
Why, Anthony.
Tell us the manner of it, good Casca.
Oh, I can as well be hanged as tell the manner of it. It was mere foolery. I saw Mark Anthony offer him a crown, and as I told you, he put it by once. But for all that, to my thinking, he would fain have hacked. Then he offered it to him again, and then he put it by again. But to my thinking, he was very loath to take his fingers off it. And then he offered it a third time. He put it by a third time. And still as he refused, the rabblement hooted and clapped their chopped hands and uttered such a deal of stinking breath because Caesar refused the crown that it had almost choked Caesar, for he swooned and fell down at it. And for my own part, I durst not laugh for the fear of opening mine lips and receiving their bad air.
But soft, I pray you. What, did Caesar swoon?
He fell down in the marketplace and foamed at the mouth. It was speechless.
'Tis very like he hath the falling sickness.
No, Caesar hath it not, but you and I and honest Casca, we have the falling sickness.
I know not what you mean of that, but I am sure Caesar fell down.
What said he when he came unto himself?
When he came to himself again, he said, if he had done or said anything amiss, he desired their worships to think it was his infirmity. 3 or 4 wenches where I stood cried, alas, good soul, and forgave him with all their hearts. But there's no heed to be taken of them. If Caesar had stabbed their mothers, they would have done the same.
Did Cicero say anything?
He spoke Greek.
To what effect?
Right, and I'll tell you that. I'll never look you in the face again. It was all Greek to me. I tell you more, Morellus and Flavius for pulling down signs off Caesar's statues. Put to silence. Fare you well. There was more foolery yet, if I could remember it.
For this time, I will leave you. Tomorrow, if it please you to speak with me, come home to me, and I will wait for you.
I will do so. Till then, think of the world. And why should Caesar be a tyrant then? Poor man, I know he would not be a wolf, but that he sees the Romans are but sheep. He were no lion when our Romans hinds. Those that with haste will make a mighty fire begin it with weak straws. What trash is Rome? What rubbish and what awful when it serves for the base matter to illuminate so vile a thing as Caesar. Well, after this, let Caesar seat him sure, for we will shake him, or worse things endure.
Still with Julius Caesar, more than one of Shakespeare's leaders makes the mistake of believing his own PR.
Caesar shall forth. The things that threatened me ne'er looked but on my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they are vanished. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he.
Speak hands for me! Ah!
It's not a good sign when a leader refers to himself in the third person. Another of Shakespeare's rulers with inaccurate ideas about both himself and his position is Richard II. Richard is very aware of his privileges and loves the trappings of being king, but he is careless, at best, of his responsibilities. He surrounds himself with lickspittles who encourage his worst instincts and takes offense at the advice of more sober counselors. Fatally, he decides that the lawful rights of others are mere suggestions which he can put aside at will. Will the king come that I may breathe my last in wholesome counsel to his unstayed youth?
Vex not yourself, nor strive with your breath, for all in vain comes counsel to his ear.
Though Richard my life's counsel would not hear, my death's sad tale may yet undeaf his ear.
No, it stopped with other flattering sounds as praises of his state, to whom venom sound the open ear of youth doth always listen. Where doth the world thrust forth a vanity that is not quickly buzzed into his ear? Direct not him whose way himself will choose. 'Tis breath thou lackst, and that breath thou soon lose.
His rash, fierce blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn themselves out. With eager feeding, food doth choke the feeder. This royal throne of kings, this sceptered isle, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it, like to a tenement or pelting farm. England, bounded with the triumphant sea of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself.
The king is come, and deal mildly with his youth. Young hot coals, being raged, do rage the more.
What comfort, man? How is't with aged gaunt?
Oh, how that name befits my composition. Old gaunt indeed, and gaunt in being old. Within me grief hath kept a tedious fast, and who abstains from meat that is not gaunt? Gaunt am I for the grave, gaunt as a grave, whose hollow womb inherits naught but bones.
Can sick men play so nicely with their names?
Misery makes sport to mock itself. Since thou dost seek to kill my name in me, I mock my name, great king, to flatter thee.
Should dying men flatter those that live?
No, no, no. Men living flatter those that die.
Thou now, a dying, say'st thou flatter'st me?
No, no. Thou diest, though I the sicker be.
I, and in health, I breathe. I see thee ill.
Now he that made me knows I see thee ill. Thy deathbed is no lesser than the land wherein thou liest in reputation sick, and thou, too careless patient as thou art, commits thy anointed body to the cure of those physicians that first wounded thee. 1,000 flatterers sit within thy crown, whose compass is no bigger than thy head, and yet, encaged in so small a verge, the waste is no whit lesser than thy land. Oh, my cousin, wert thou regent of the world, it were a shame to let this land by lease. Landlord of England art thou, and not king.
And thou, a lunatic, lean-witted fool, presuming on an ague's privilege, darest, with thy frozen admonition, make pale our cheek, chafing the royal blood, with fury from his native residence. Now, by my seat's right royal majesty, wert thou not brother to great Edward's son? This tongue that runs so roundly in thy head should run thy head from thy unreverent shoulders.
Oh, spare me not, my brother Edward's son. That blood already, like the pelican, thou drunkenly caroused. Live in thy shame, but die not shame with thee. These words hereafter thy tormentors speak. Convey me to my bed, then to my grave. Love they to live, that love and honor have.
And let them die, that age and sullens have. For both hast thou, and both become the grave.
I do beseech your majesty, impute his words to wayward sickliness and age in him.
My liege, old Gaunt commends him to your majesty.
What says he?
Nay, nothing. All is said. His tongue is now a stringless instrument. Words, life, and all, old Lancaster hath spent.
The ripest fruit first falls, and so doth he. His time is spent, our pilgrimage must be. So much for that. Now, for our Irish wars. We must supplant those rough, rug-headed kerns, and for these great affairs do ask some charge. Towards our assistance, we do seize to us the plate, coin, revenues, and movables, whereof our old Uncle Gaunt did stand possessed.
How long shall I be patient? Oh, how long shall tender duty make me suffer wrong?
Why, uncle, what's the matter?
Oh, my liege, pardon me if you please. If not, I please not to be pardoned and content with all. Seek you to seize the right and grip in your hands the royalties and rights of banished Hereford. Is not Gaunt dead? And doth not Hereford live? Did not the one deserve to have an heir? Is not his heir a well-deserving son? Take Hereford's rights away, and take from time his charters and customary rights. Let not tomorrow that ensue today be not thyself. For how art thou a king but by fair sequence and succession? Now, afore God, and God forbid I say true, if you wrongfully seize Hereford's right, you pluck 1,000 dangers on your head. You lose 1,000 well-disposed hearts, and prick my tender patience to those thoughts which honor and allegiance cannot think.
Think what you will! We will seize into our hands his plate, his good, his money, and his lands.
I'll not be the while, my liege. Farewell. What will ensue hereof, there is none can tell.
Well, lords, the Duke of Lancaster is dead.
And living too, for now his son is duke.
Barely in title, not in revenue.
Richly in bulk, if justice had her right.
Quick as mine ear to hear of good towards him.
Now afore heaven, 'tis shame such wrongs are born. By him, a royal prince, and many more, of noble blood in this declining land.
The commons hath Richard piled with grievous taxes, and quite lost their hearts. The nobles hath he fined for ancient quarrels, and quite lost their hearts.
And daily new exactions are devised.
He hath not money for these Irish wars, his burdenous taxations notwithstanding, but by robbing of the banished duke.
We see the very rack that we must suffer. And unavoided are the dangers now.
Not so. Even through the hollow eyes of death, I spy life peering. But I dare not say how near the tidings of our comfort is.
Nay, let us share in thy thoughts as thou dost ours.
Be confident to speak, Northumberland.
Then thus, I have received intelligence that Harry, Duke of Hereford, old Gaunt's son, with friends well furnished by the Duke of Brittany, is making hither with all due expedience, and shortly means to touch our northern shore. If then we shall shake off our slavish yoke, redeem the broken pawn from the blemished crown, and make high majesty look like itself, away with me in post to Ravensburg. But if you feign despairing to do so, stay and be secret, and myself will go.
To horse, urge doubt to those that fear.
Hold out my horse, and I will first be there.
Richard is a profligate, foolish king, and he has terrible timing. Having now made an enemy of every property owner in the kingdom, on top of his unpopular tax abuse of the common folk, he gallops off to make war in Ireland. By the time he gets back, nearly everyone who had sworn loyalty to the crown has decided the crown belongs on someone else. He is deposed by none other than old Gaunt's son, the Duke of Hereford, by name Henry Bolingbroke, who becomes King Henry IV. Richard does grow in perceptiveness of himself and others, but since that only happens after he is dethroned and imprisoned, it's too late. He does have occasion to utter some truly prophetic words to the Earl of Northumberland.
Northumberland, thou ladder wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age, more than it is, ere foul sin, gathering head, shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little helping him to all. He shall think that thou which knowst the way to plant unrightful kings wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged another way to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne. The love of wicked friends converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate turns one or both to worthy danger and deserved death.
The moral of Richard's story is that when a boss, even a king, disregards the rights of the governed, he might find himself replaced. Religious beliefs have always impacted leaders and their subjects. From time immemorial, religious leaders have used and often abused their authority in order to influence rulers and public alike. In Henry IV, Part 2, Prince John of Lancaster, not the same person as our earlier King John, has strong words for the Archbishop of York, who has used his position as a high-ranking churchman to manipulate the citizenry against John's father, Henry IV.
My lord of York, it better showed with you when that your flock assembled by the bell encircled you to hear with reverence your exposition on the holy text. Then now to see you here, a warlike man, talking, cheering a rout of rebels with your drum, turning the word to sword and life to death. It is even so, who have not heard it spoken, how deep you were within the books of God. Employ the countenance and grace of heaven, but you misuse the reverence of your place in deeds dishonorable.
On the other hand, we have Sir Thomas More. The play by the same name is generally considered to be partly by Shakespeare, this scene in particular. More was not a churchman per se, but his religious beliefs defined his life and choices and made him a defender of the Catholic faith. This scene is from early-ish in his career. More's speech addresses prejudice against immigrants in England at the time, and as perhaps befits a historical figure who was sainted by the Roman Catholic Church, it stresses the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Peace, hear me! He that will not see butter at 11 pence a pound, list to me!
It will come to that pass if strangers be suffered.
That's right!
These bastards of dung, as you know they grow in dung, have infected us.
That's right! Step forward, peace!
Look! That which you do cry upon, you do offend. That is the peace. Alas, poor things, what is it you have got? Although we grant you get the thing you seek.
The removing of the strangers, which cannot choose but much advantage the poor handicraftsmen of the city!
Grant them removed, and grant that this your noise hath chid down all the majesty of England. Imagine that you see the wretched strangers, their babies at their backs, their poor luggage, plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation, and that you sit as king in your desire, authority quite silent in your brawl, and you in ruff of your opinions clothed. What had you got? I'll tell you. You had taught how insolence and strong hand should prevail, how order should be quelled. And by this pattern, not one of you shall live an aged man. For other ruffians, as their fancies wrought, with self-same hand, self-reason and self-right would shark on you. And men, like ravenous fishes, would feed on one another. Say now the king, for he is clement if the offender mourn, should so much come too short of your great trespass as but to banish you. Whither would you go? What country, by nature of your error, should give you harbor? Go you to France, or Flanders, to any German province, to Spain, or Portugal, nay, anywhere that adhere not to England? Why, then needs must you be the strangers. Would you be pleased to find a nation of such bitter temperament? That breaking out in hideous violence would not afford you an abode on earth, whet their detested knives against your throats, spurn you like dogs, and like as if that God made not, nor owed not you, nor that the elements were not all appropriate to your comforts, but chartered unto them. What would you think to be thus used? This is the stranger's case. And this, your mountainous inhumanity.
Postscript. Sir Thomas More was canonized in 1935 as a Catholic martyr, and in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II declared him the patron saint of statesmen and politicians. Shakespeare wrote only one clearly competent, strong king who not only governed effectively, but had the love of both his nobles, well, most of them, and the common people. The latter, maybe, because Prince Hal's notoriously misspent youth was deliberately spent among those common people. So, when Shakespeare's Prince Hal becomes King Henry V, he brings more to the job than a bloodline. He brings some humility towards those who have the experience in government that he does not yet have, and also a broader knowledge of the whole of his people than his predecessors had had, or that the nobility generally had at all. This broad perspective allows him to see things from various points of view, and to treat those points of view with respect, if not always with agreement. The first clear inkling we have that Henry will be a fine king comes in this scene from his first moments in that position, just after the death of his father.
How now, my Lord Chief Justice?
How doth the king?
Exceeding well. His cares are now all ended.
I hope not dead. I would his majesty had called me with him. The service that I truly did his life hath left me open to all injuries.
Indeed, or that you with justice once committed the wild and roistering prince to a prison cell. I think the new king now will love you not.
Alas, I fear now all will be overturned.
Oh, good my lord, you have lost a friend indeed. Though no man be assured of what grace to find, you stand in coldest expectation. I am the sorrier, would 'twere otherwise.
Sweet princess, what I did in honor.
Here comes the prince.
A good morrow, and heaven save your majesty.
This new and gorgeous garment, majesty, sits not so easy on me as you think. Brothers, you mix your sadness with some fear. This is the English, not an assassin's court. And I, Harry, not some jealous tyrant. Pray entertain no more of it, good brothers, but weep our father's death, and so will I.
We hope no other from your majesty.
You all look strangely on me. And you most. You are, I think, assured I love you not.
I am assured, if I be measured rightly, your majesty hath no just cause to hate me.
No. How might a prince of my great hopes so soon forget so great indignities you laid upon me? What? Rate, rebuke, and roughly sends to prison the immediate heir of England. Was this easy? May this be washed in Lethe and forgotten?
I then did use the person of your father. The image of his power lay then in me, and in the administration of his law, whiles I was busy for the Commonwealth, your highness pleased to forget my place, and struck me in my very seat of judgment, whereon, as an offender to your father, I did commit you. If the deed were ill, be you contented, were he now the garland, to have a son set your decrees at naught? To trip the course of law and blunt the sword that guards the peace and safety of your person? Question your royal thoughts, make the case yours, and, as you are a king, speak in your state what I have done that misbecame my place.
You're right, Justice, and you weigh this well. And I do wish your honors may increase till you do live to see a son of mine offend you and obey you as I did. So shall I live to speak my father's words. Happy am I that have a man so bold that dare do justice on my proper son. You did commit me, for which I do commit into your hand the unstained office you have used to bear, with this remembrance, that you use the same with the like bold, just, and impartial spirit as you have done against me. You shall be as a father to my youth. And princes all, believe me, I beseech you, no prince nor peer shall have just cause to say, heaven shorten Harry's happy life one day.
History's Henry V is largely remembered for his remarkable military victories in France. Shakespeare implies that part of the reason for that war may have been his father's deathbed advice to busy, giddy minds with foreign quarrels as a way to secure domestic unity. Be that as it may, the new king nonetheless faced some challenges on the home front.
For God, his grace is bold to trust these traitors.
They shall be apprehended by and by.
How smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms sat, crowned with faith and constant loyalty.
Now sits the wind fair. We will aboard. My lord of Cambridge, my kind lord of Masham, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us will cut their passage through the force of France?
No doubt, my liege, if each man do his best.
I doubt not that. Since we are all well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence, that grows not in a fair consent with ours, nor leave not one behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend us.
Never was monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in heart grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government.
True, those that were your father's enemies have steeped their galls in honey, and do serve you with hearts create of duty and of zeal.
We therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hand sooner than the quittance of desert and merit.
So service shall with steel sinew toil, and labor shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant services.
We judge no less. Uncle of Exeter, enlarge the man committed yesterday, that railed against our person. We consider it was excessive wine that set him on, and on his more advice we pardon him.
That's mercy, but too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his insufferance more of such a kind.
Oh, let us yet be merciful.
So may, your highness, and yet punish, too.
Sir, you show great mercy if you give him life, after the taste of much correction.
Alas, your too much love and care of me are heavy orisons against this poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested, appear before us? We'll yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge, Scroop, and Gray, in their dear care for me, and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. And now, who are our French causes? Who are the late commissioners?
I won, my lord. Your highness bade me ask it for it today.
So did you mean my liege?
And I, my royal sovereign.
Then Richard, Earl of Cambridge, there is yours. There is yours, Lord Scroop of Masham, and Sir Knight Grey of Northumberland. This same is yours. Read them, and know I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland, and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. How now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you lose so much complexion? Look ye how they change. Their cheeks are paper. Why? What bred you there that have so cowarded and chased your blood out of appearance?
I do confess my fault, and submit me to your highness's mercy.
To which we all appeal.
The mercy that was quick in us of late, by your own counsel, is suppressed and killed. You must not dare, for shame, to talk of mercy. For your own reason, turn into your bosoms as dogs upon their masters, worrying you. See you, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters. My Lord of Cambridge here, you know how apt our love was to accord, to furnish with all appurtenance belonging to his honor, and this man hath, for a few light crowns, lightly conspired and sworn unto the practices of France, to kill us here in Hampton, to the which this night, for no less bounty, bound to us than Cambridge is, hath likewise sworn. But oh, what shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop? Thou cruel, ungrateful, savage, and inhuman creature. Thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that know'st the very bottom of my soul, that almost mightst have coined me into gold, wouldst thou have practiced on me for thy use. May it be possible that foreign hire could out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger. 'Tis so strange that though the truth of it stands off as gross as black as white in my eye, will scarcely see it. And thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot to mark the full fraught man, and best endued with some suspicion. I will weep for thee. For this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. Their faults are open. Arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices.
Our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your highness to forgive, although my body may pay the price of it.
God quit you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy, proclaimed from his coffers, received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom to desolation. Touching our person, seek me no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you sought, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death, a taste whereof God of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offenses. Bear them hence. Now, lords, for France. the enterprise whereof shall be to you as us, like glorious. We doubt not of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way.
Among other hard choices, Henry is faced with criminal behavior by an old friend from his wild tavern days. But favoritism towards a clear wrongdoer is corrosive for group cohesion and discipline, and Henry knows it. As he and his forces march into France...
What men have you lost, Llewellyn?
Mary, for my part, I think the Duke hath never lost a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church. One Bardolph, if your majesty know the man.
We would all have all such offenders so cut off. And we give express charge that in our marches through the country, there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for, none of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language. For when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner.
Later, with his back against the wall and facing terrible odds against the well-provided French at the looming Battle of Agincourt, Henry needs to rally his dispirited, worn-out troops. Now, entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of one another's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their pale flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the knight's dull ear, and from the tents, the armorers accomplishing the knights, with busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low-rated English play at dice. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. Oh, now, who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from tent to tent, from watch to watch? Let him cry praise and glory on his head, for forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor doth he dedicate one jot of color unto the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks, and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks. A largesse universal, like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone. Fine cold fear that mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night. And so our scene must to the battle fly.
Where is the king? The king himself is rode to view their battle.
Fighting men, they have a full 70,000.
There's 5 to 1. Besides, they are all fresh.
God's arm strike with us. 'Tis a fearful odds.
Oh, but that we had here now, but 10,000 of those men in England that do not work today.
Who's he that wishes so? My cousin, Salisbury? No, fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to win, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee not, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear, such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I'm the most offending soul alive. No faith, my cuz, wish not a man from England. God's peace I would not lose so great an honor, as one man more, methinks, would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more, rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, throughout my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for his convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispin. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is Saint Crispin. Then he will strip his sleeves and show his scars. Old men forget, yet all will be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester be in their flowing cups freshly remembering. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band brothers. For he, today that sheds his blood with me, shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. This day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day.
My sovereign lord, bestow yourself with speed. The French are bravely in their battle set, and will with all expedients charge on us.
All things are ready if our minds be so.
I perish the man whose mind is backwards now.
Thou dost not wish more help from England, coz?
God's will, my liege. Would you and I alone, that could without more help could fight this royal battle?
Why, now thou hast unwished 5,000 men, which likes me better than to wish us one. You all know your places. God be with you all.
Henry V and the English forces won the Battle of Agincourt despite the odds, and Henry married Catherine, Princess of France, to seal his victory and claim. Unfortunately, some fine leaders are cut off in their prime. Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and Henry V all come to mind, though Henry was taken out by illness, not an assassin. The necessity of having wise emergency succession plans has the last actual word in this story. Small time, but in that small most greatly lived this Star of England. Fortune made his sword, by which the world's best garden he achieved, and of it left his son, imperial lord. Henry VI, in infant bands crowned king of France and England, did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing, that they lost France, and made his England bleed.
Great lords, wise men ne'er sit and wail their loss, but cheerly seek how to redress their harms.
If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, if that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place, albeit you have deserved much. Yet such is now the Duke's condition, that he misconstrues all you have done.
Repent that thy tongue have so betrayed thy bloody plan. Being done unknown, I should have found it afterwards well done, but must condemn it now.
When I tell him he hates flatterers, he says he does, being then most flattered.
Thou must know, 'tis not my profit that does lead mine honor. Mine honor leads my profit.
Thou shouldst not have been old till thou hast been wise.
If I lose mine honor, I lose myself.
Pride went before, ambition follows him. While these do labor for their own preferment, join we together for the public good.